Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Page of Swords podcast. This is episode 28, and I'm bringing on my new IFBB Pro. Girl, how's it going?
Arianna, Tate, it's going good. How are you?
Doing fantastic. So, yeah, let's talk about your history. Let's start off with that because I'm seeing that you've been competing for, a long time now, right?
Yeah, I've been competing since 2012. I did my first show in 2012. I started training consistently since 2011. I started in bikini, obviously.
Okay.
And then I worked my way up. But I didn't compete like every year, but I competed. I've done 10 shows. But I did four bikini competition or shows. I think it was 3 or 4. I can't remember. And then I did my first figure show in 2016. And then from there, I just kept, progressing and, here I am now.
So I do see the 2016 on the NPC website, and I'm assuming, was Bikini an NPC too, or was that a different organization?
I did the NPC. So I did figure in 2016. So 2012, I did bikini. 2014, I did bikini. And then 2016, I did my first figure show.
Okay. Because maybe they didn't like post pictures from like maybe 2016 is like the earliest they've done, but that's really cool that you have like a vast like history there. And you won your first show when you did figure, huh?
Yeah. I won that, and then I took a year off to grow more. Okay. And then I did Emerald Cup, which is actually the biggest show in the Pacific Northwest. It's the one that Brad and Elaine run. They usually judge the national shows too. I got third there, which was a big accomplishment because, it's a really big show. And then I took time off, and then I went to NPC Nationals. Big mistake.
Why? Tell us why and why.
I was not ready. I mean, no? I think at the time, I was working with a coach, and I don't think he was as honest as he should have been to me. But, he's a good person, but I needed to be leaner. I didn't have the muscle. I wasn't ready for that level. I ended up placing 10th, and I took some time to improve, and then I did Southern States, and I won that show. And that was about 8 to 9 months later. And then I did USA's 2 weeks after that, and I got third in 2018.
And that was much better, right? Do you feel like that first national show is like you kind of got some data and knowledge and kind of got some nerves out? Because I know how big of a show those are. And then you kind of, a year later come back super strong.
Yeah, it was nice because I went up against some girls at nationals that beat me, and then I came back and beat them, which is a great feeling. I love everybody, I love meeting everyone and stuff, but it was nice to know that my hard work paid off. And then, I was supposed to compete in 2019, but I was going through like a lot of hormonal issues and stuff. So I wasn't mentally in the right headspace. So I took off, 2019. I didn't step on stage, which I'm very grateful that I didn't. And then 2020, here we are. I did the Clash. Okay. I won my class there. I didn't win the overall because I still need to be tighter, and I was having issues with the coach I was with at the time. So then I hired a new coach, and he took me on 5 weeks out to USA's, and then we, achieved my pro card there. So
that's awesome. And you're still with that coach, right?
Yes, I absolutely.
Okay.
He is great. I work with Johnny Casalina. Obviously it's been a little hard for me because, during that prep, I went through a loss 3 weeks out to my show with my brother. So it was definitely hard to push on through, but I did that, for him, and, he was one of my biggest supporters. And then coming out of the show, it was hard. It was, normally, reverse dieting is hard, period. It's really hard. But when you're coming out of a show on top of grieving, you're dealing with a loss, reality kind of hits you. You kind of, you know, you're just not you for a while. And I kind of went through that, and I actually did my first check-in today. I checked in like after the holidays, and then I told him, I was like, hey, listen, like I needed a mental break, you know, just to get my head in the good place. Cause it's hard. You don't want to check in with a coach when you're not 100% all the time. You know, I feel like I don't like wasting people's time, and I just wasn't in the right headspace, but now I'm better. So
that's great. I mean, to be honest, like a break like that is just, I think, a really good decision anyways. You know, just, I feel like you had a really good 2020. Like you did 3 shows. Was that your first? No, you did like more than one show, right? Is this your first time doing like 3 shows?
I did 2 shows in 2020.
Okay. Okay.
But I
don't know why it says that mid-Florida. You didn't do a mid-Florida, did you? That's so weird.
No.
I don't know why the website says that you did a 3rd show. That's weird. Anyways, that must be why. I was like, it says you did a Florida show, but there's no picture. So I'm like, it's lying.
It was probably Southern states, because I did Southern states, which was in Florida, in 2018, which is a really good show. So if you ever want to do Southern states, that's a really good show. I mean, and the judges there are really, usually Sandy judges that show too, but I don't know if she's judging that show this year or not.
Is that November? Is that when that show typically is?
It's usually in the summertime, but I think having it wait, where are we at? No, it's usually in the summertime. Yeah.
Okay.
But you're doing Clash, right?
Yep. I'm going to do the Clash. That's in 9 weeks.
That's so exciting.
Which I know for you it was in November. So I know that with COVID they had to change the dates a few times or whatever. But yeah, I'll see. Have you was the Clash was in that hotel, right? The same one with the Olympia?
Yeah, it was at the convention center. It was actually the same place where NPC Nationals was. A couple weeks later.
Yeah.
It's a lot of room. I mean, it was ran really well. I liked that show a lot. Obviously, I didn't have the best experience because, you know, it happens, but it was a really, what's his name? Joe? Yeah.
Yes, Joe.
Joe runs really good shows. But it was ran really well and organized. So you'll do really good.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're going to do awesome. Your shape is crazy. So
your shape is crazy.
When I'm lean, I mean, it's, you know, but obviously all that matters is how you look the day you step on stage, but you're going to do awesome.
Thank you. Do you remember what your feedback was from the Clash? Was it just conditioning or anything?
Yes, it was. Okay. So I was working with a different coach at the time, and it was, okay. So I decided like a week out, I was going to do that show like crazy. Right. Because I was supposed to qualify. I was going to qualify and do the Gold Cup, which was local where I live. But I found out there was only like 20 people registered for that show. And I was like, okay, I need to have some competition. I'm not going against nobody. Like, that's just weird to me. Like, I need somebody. Right. So I decided last minute, okay, I'm a week out. And I asked the coach I was with at the time, what is your honest opinion? And she's like, yeah, you'll be ready. Like, let's do it. And I wanted the honest opinion. So I just, when you're dieting, you just listen to your coach, you know?
Exactly.
And so she's like, yeah, let's do it. And I'm like, okay, cool. So we did it. And they told me that I needed to be my legs, I have the size. It's just, they need to come in more conditioned, and my glutes, my tie-ins, everything else was there, but it just needed more refinement, like a little bit more tighter,
a little pop to it. I know how that are, because that's like my biggest worry too, is just getting those legs really conditioned. Is there any advice that you like? Was there anything that helped?
When I went to Johnny, he actually had me do a circuit, which I've never done this before because I don't like stuff like that. Like, I'm going to be honest.
I feel like I already know what you're going to say, and I'm just like, oh boy.
Yeah, he had me doing every morning before I would do my fasted cardio. I would go down to my garage because I have a little gym in there, and I would do I believe it was like, he would make me do, I think it was 4 sets total. I can't remember. I think it was 4 sets total. I'll have to go back and look. But I had to do like 20 reps of, I would do stiff leg dumbbell with lighter weight for 20 reps. And then I would go into jumping plyos for 20 reps. And then after that, I would go into hip thrusters for 20 reps. And I think that's all I did. Yeah. And I have to repeat that 4 sets. So basically no rest really.
Okay. Yeah.
And when I started doing that though, I noticed a difference in my glutes a lot within a couple of weeks. Like it just started coming in more and more.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes it's like, sometimes you have to do stuff like that just to help,
Mm-hmm. I can see that. I've seen a few other competitors that do more of like, to me, it looks like track conditioning. You know what I mean? And I was never a track person in school. So like, I see that and I'm just like, that it has to work. Like, cause those are the girls that I see on stage with some serious lines.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. And there's other things that, help with that too.
Hey, I know. So that I don't like to rely on those things. I always know there's always, there's always something that helps that people just don't realize. Like, you know what I mean?
And there's natural alternatives. Like DIM is great for helping knock down estrogen too, which you can get like from Vitamin Shop or over the counter.
Mm-hmm.
Things like that. That definitely helps because it's hard because as women, we hold more estrogen in our lower half. Mm-hmm. So it's like, for a guy, like guys have more testosterone, so it's easier for a male to get, that nice, like, those nice lines and that nice crisp look. But for a female, it's a lot harder. So
Plus we're shorter.
Yeah. And then, it takes more time. And two, like with the more time of training under our belts, the more maturity we, develop, the more we're going to have, those lines. And we will end up having those lines year round too. I see a lot of women who compete a lot and I notice in their off season, they'll have lines in their legs. And I'm like,
I've thought that too. And I'm just like, I know that can't just all be genetic like that. I mean, that girl definitely has to have things built up to have those lines. Cause like I said, because we're shorter, we'll have the size, but then it's that conditioning. But I think it's just like anything else. After a while, your body, if you're consistent, a look is just built on like a foundation.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all training and stuff. Like, wait, how tall are you?
I'm 5'3".
Okay, so yeah, you are short. So I'm 5'1".
Mm-hmm.
Well, almost 5'1".
Because I was gonna say you're mostly in the A class, so I figured that you were probably on the shorter side.
Yeah, I'm like in the taller end of the A class, but now it's like I'll be going up against girls that are like, everyone's the same, like everyone's different heights. So I'm like, okay, I usually look like the bigger girl because I'm taller than most of the girls in class A, but now it's like I'm gonna just look like a little shorty.
That'll be really interesting though. I mean, obviously like that's something for you to look forward to, but now that you are in your off season, and I know you just checked in today and everything, but like what's your mindset? Like what's your plan right now? You thinking like you're going to work on some back, or what's your biggest thing right now?
Well, within my physique, I didn't really get feedback. But I know that I want to grow overall on my physique now. Like I'm pretty symmetrical, but I just need to add more density, just more time of training, more maturity. Mm-hmm. But my main goal is obviously right now is to really step it up and focus on improving from here, even if that means that I need to cut just a little bit, until I can build my food intake up because, I didn't really reverse the best. But probably, just focus on, progressing within my lifts, putting on more muscle overall. And then I feel like I need to work on my core a bit. I could have, a better core. I feel like my core is a little underdeveloped. And then, obviously posing because, now it's like, I don't just pose for a little bit. I have to walk out and, there's so much more, but I probably won't step back on stage until 2022 or depending on what my coach says, maybe late 2021.
Okay. Okay. I figured you were going to need some time to, I think most people that turn pro like that, most of them, shut it down for a little bit just to kind of
Yeah.
chill out and everything and build some
Get your
muscle.
get your hormones healthy too, for sure. That's number one. Like blood work.
Exactly. We had just talked about this, and I don't know if you want to touch on it, but it's like, I just feel like it's something that people say they do, and then like it's like they don't take it seriously, or like I don't know, it's just undervalued. Maybe is what I'm trying to say. Like, don't you agree that it's like a must?
Yes. I mean, the thing is, like, you want your hormones to be in a good place when you start a prep, especially if you're, okay, whether you're a natural athlete or you're enhanced. Now, if you know, are an enhanced athlete and, you're running things, in a contest prep, and you come out of your prep and you're not getting your blood work done, you're not going to know what's off versus what isn't, whether that be your thyroid, your estradiol, your progesterone, your cholesterol, there's so many things, or your AST, ALT, your liver enzymes. So there's a lot of things that play into role with that. And you want to make sure everything's in a good spot so that when you do start your prep, your body is where it needs to be, versus like, oh, I started prep and 5 weeks in, you find out you have hypothyroidism, or, or your progesterone is completely zero, and that can affect fat loss. So there's a lot of things that play in a role with that. And I think a lot of people do neglect that because I think it's not that, like, I think they're just scared.
Yeah.
They're scared to find out that there's something wrong with their hormones, or they're scared that their coach is going to be like, no, you're not competing until that's fixed. So that's something that I've always been on top of.
And that's
but it's, it's definitely very important, for sure.
People get intimidated sometimes too. Like, I know a lot of people are just like, I don't know what to ask for, or I don't know how to ask. And I just feel that, you should definitely have some sort of like doctor or gynecologist or whatever, and just be like, listen, I'm really serious. Like, I really need to know. And then like, if you have a good coach or someone that can read the labs for you, that's another thing. Now, do you give your stuff to Johnny, or do you understand what you're looking at?
I understand too, but I will be giving him my blood work just so he has a better idea of where my body is at, especially my hormones. But I do understand a lot with blood work, but I know that one reason why I hired him is because I know he knows his stuff and he's very smart, and he's a coach I can learn from myself too. But I'll definitely be giving it to him just so he can kind of go over it and see if we need to do certain things, whether that be, I need to go through a hormone clinic, I need to be prescribed something, or, be put on something natural to help, whether that be like Chase Berry for my progesterone, or, Dim for my estrogen or something, just to get me in a good, healthy place so that when it's time to prep, my hormones are where it should be.
Right. That was the biggest thing for me in 2019. It was like, I just need to get like a fresh receptors, so that all 2020, it was just like, let's try to get this period back, let's try to get some of this acne to reduce, let's just, it was a lot of things. And I just think some people just want to, you know, hurry up and compete is what I'm trying to say. And I'm like, honestly, like, you can't really tell your body what to do. It can get kind of frustrating, and you kind of just have to like let it heal itself and everything too. So
yeah, let your hormones balance itself out. But I agree, a lot of women, especially, I see it a lot, they want to compete, they do a show, and then, I mean, obviously if their coach thinks they're ready, I guess it's different, but some coaches are, I guess it depends on who the coach is. But some people, they want to just jump and do another show. And a lot of it is because, they're not happy with the weight gain that they put on. So they want to hurry up and get leaner again, versus, taking time to actually getting their body in a good spot so their body responds well, so that they can actually really do well at a show. You took the time off that was needed. So now when you come back, you're going to be that much better. And, your body had rest, you're not like pushing it to, to extreme over and over. And I see a lot of that.
Just running their tires till they're bald, I'm just like, listen, like, I know you like the Instagram attention and everything. I mean, who doesn't? But it's like, sometimes that's like one of the downfalls to bodybuilding now with social media. I don't know if you agree, but it's like some people just, you don't know if it's for the sport or if it's for the attention. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I do agree with that. You know, I've been competing since, I think I've been 9 years. I don't know how long it's been. It's been a while.
Mhm.
And it's evolved a lot, you know, because when I got into it, Instagram really wasn't around. I think it just started, but I wasn't on Instagram until probably 2014.
Mhm.
I don't even remember. I think when Troy and I started dating, that's when I started to get on Instagram more. But you know, it's, I feel like a lot of people do compete, you know, for, you know, attention on Instagram, or, and also I feel like it's hard, you know, especially women, it's hard for us because we feel like, you know, when we do have a following, we feel like we have to look a certain way all the time.
Mhm.
And it's hard mentally. And I think that puts a lot of pressure on a lot of athletes, even top pros, I'm sure, because they feel like they have to look a certain way. And if they don't, they're not, you know, they're just not going to be, you know, treated the same, or, you know what I mean? And it's hard. It's, to me, I think bodybuilding, the thing with bodybuilding is, you know, it has its different, you have your different phases you go through. You know, you have your improvement season where you need to put weight on, and, you know, so you can lift the, you know, weights and stuff. And then you go through that cutting phase where you get leaner, and then, you know, you get shredded. But then it's like you have these two different phases, and you can't always stay crazy shredded year round unless you're, you know, an ectomorph and you're just genetically lean like that. Then kudos to you. But it's harder to put on muscle when you're naturally that lean year round.
Right.
So
I know, I'm just like you going into the pro division and everything. Like, I'm sure you're well aware these figure girls are, they're big. And I mean, sometimes it's hard to tell with pictures and everything. And
mhm.
you just, I don't know that I can just tell. I'm just like, these girls have nice, dense, hard muscle. And that is just training and just consistency. And I mean, you got to put the work in. I'm sure you know that.
Yeah, I've looked at some of the top pros. Like, there's one pro that I really enjoy following, Nadia. She's third at the Olympia. She's been third, I think, 3 years in a row.
And I was
But
actually thinking about her when you said your height, because like as soon as you said how you know that you're on the shorter side, I'm like, I'm sure Nadia is a great one for you to follow, just because she is up on stage and she's shorter, but she still kills it.
yeah, and well, she gets up to about the same weight I do in my off season. Maybe she might be a little heavier, or we're about the same, and then we're the same height. And then she gets down to about the same weight that I get down to.
Mhm.
So we have similar, like, structure in a way, but she's got more density. She, you know, she's a power lifter too, but I think she understands and knows, like, if I want to grow and be able to lift this heavy ass weight, I'm going to have to put on some, you know, a little bit of fat to help me push those weights. And, you know, I see, you know, other pros that, and these are the pros I feel like that have longevity in the sport, that take the time off versus competing year round. I mean, I respect that, but I don't know how they do it. I'm dead. I'm like, I did 2 shows and I'm dead. I'm exhausted. Give me a year.
Yeah, you're like, because you know that's the fun of the process. You know, if you do it too much, it's like I, I don't know. You're definitely gonna like burn everything you got, and then I'm sure the passion isn't always there. Like those are the people I feel like really struggle with finding the motivation, because it's like, well, you know, take a damn break.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, it's like, it's bodybuilding, like, it's, you know, it's a hard sport, you know, especially on your body, and mentally, but you're putting your body through things that it's not normal. You know, and for a female to get that lean, um, it's, you know, it's not healthy, especially towards the end. But, you know, if it's something you love and you're passionate about, I feel like it is important to take time in between and rest so that you can come back better. and that, so you have that longevity in the sport versus burning yourself out. And you don't want to get to that point where you burn yourself out and then you never want to step on stage again because you just hate it so much. And I've seen that happen with a lot of females. Definitely. And, I know one, woman, she's competed, did 10 shows in a year. And she was just, after that, she was like, I'm done. And, I don't blame her. I would have been like, but then again, that's why it's important to take that rest, and because your body can only take so much.
For sure. So you mentioned about, so when did you meet your husband? You said that was like, you were already competing, right?
Yes, I met him in 2014. So I actually met him at a bodybuilding show. He was the guest poser. And I was spray tanning. So obviously I didn't spray tan him, but I traveled doing that for about 6 years. I worked, when I lived in Washington State, I would go to Idaho, I'd go to Oregon, and we would just different parts of Washington, and we would travel, and I would spray tan, bodybuilders and stuff like that. So that's how I kind of got into the bodybuilding world. But I met him in Oregon, actually, spray tanning there. And so we met, and I didn't like him in the beginning. I'm like, who is this guy? Why is he trying to get with me? Like, go away. And then he came up to me and he asked somebody to videotape him and on stage. And I said, yeah, sure, I will. Anything to get me away from being backstage. I was kind of like, I was over it. Like, I wanted to see the bodybuilders. So I videotaped him. And then after that, he was following me around. What's your name? What's your number? And I told him, I was like, hey, listen, I'll just send you a friend request on Facebook. I don't give out my numbers to guys. Well, I look him up. He's already my friend on Facebook. And so I'm like, how the heck is he my friend? And I have so many bodybuilders on my Facebook. And then he was like, well, then you better give me, your number. And so I gave him my number, and then we started talking, and then we became good friends in the beginning. And then we started dating, and then here we are. We're married. We've been married for 6 years, together for 7 years.
That's cute. I love a good bodybuilding love story.
I'm very grateful for him. He's very supportive, and he's a pro athlete as well, but he hasn't stepped on stage since 2014. I don't know if he will compete again. He wants to, but he wants to do it the healthy way because, it's harder on guys, I feel like, especially at the pro level.
Like, those guys can really shred down, and then the stuff that they have to take too, I'm sure, is a whole nother ball game.
Yeah, and I'm a warrior. I'm always like, I can't lose you. Nothing bad can happen to you. But he pushes me. He's very supportive of my goals, and I'm supportive of him. So we make a good team, and we work together. So it works well, with us.
I feel like it probably helps now that he can watch you become a pro and kind of, have you under his wing and everything. I'm sure he's super proud, and like, that's super cute though.
Yeah, he is. He was a huge weight lifted came off of him. He's like, yes, finally. He's like, now we can compete together. And I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, I'm like, let me do my first pro show, and then we can maybe compete together. But I don't know how I would be competing with my husband. We did that in 2014 when I did my last bikini show, and it was his pro debut, and we literally almost killed each other.
Oh, goodness. So you're like, let me have my pro debut, and then we can discuss this.
Yeah, because I don't know how it would work. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I was going to ask that if, like, I'm sure you guys both live the lifestyle, so it's probably nice that you guys are both, like, eating stuff that's similar, and, he doesn't bring stuff that you don't want around, because it's just not him, I would assume. And
no, he is extremely strict. So after my show, he did diet. He dieted before my show so that we could enjoy food, after my show. And it was funny because he checked in with his coach 2 weeks after, and his coach goes, wow, you must be like enjoying some food because your wife just got done competing. And because he was up some in weight, and he's like, yeah. And I was like, wow, that makes me feel great. But he normally he's very on top of his game. Like he does cardio 6 days a week in the morning on the bike for 20, 25 minutes. He's on, he follows macros. Like he eats very healthy though. And he barely cheats. And if I have a cheat meal or something, or if I eat extra food, he will sometimes, but he's really on top of it. And he's very strict on me. Like, even though, obviously come out of show, it's been hard, but when I'm in prep, he's on my ass like all the time.
And that's good to have, because, no one wants to be self-sabotaged, and he's there to kind of just, be that little like angel on your shoulder, like, hey, you don't want to cheat or.
Yep. Yeah. He's like that. Or with my cardio, my training, he trains me on leg days usually. And I was told that my legs need to come up in 2018. And he's like, okay, well, I have no problem with that. And I'm like, okay. Cause he's really, he pushes me really hard on leg day. But I remember when I first started training legs with him, I couldn't even do the bar, literally, Paige. I couldn't even do the bar. Like I would be like struggling with the bar. And now it's like, I've gotten up to my heaviest 275, but obviously weight's not everything, but I can, squat now 225. But before it was like, I was struggling just with a 45-pound bar. So yeah, we all start somewhere.
Your own bar, right? Is it a garage, right? Did you say that? Or where's your?
Yeah. We train out of my garage sometimes.
Yeah, I did during videos, and he pushes you, and that must be so nice to just, have that in the comfort of your own home. And I don't know, then you don't have to worry about like people like really like checking you out when you squat.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, especially him when he lifts his weights. I'm like, oh my gosh, he's screaming. Everyone's like staring. I'm like,
Don't worry about it. It's my wife. I can yell if I want to. That's so fantastic. So I'm glad that you have a good support system. I'm sure that really helped too with everything going on towards your show. I'm sure he was there for you at the show and everything.
Yeah, he was. Because when I was 3 weeks out, after losing my brother, I almost dropped out of the show. Yeah. I was like, I'm done. But thankfully I had, a lot of support, and I was so close, and it was the best I've ever looked. And I was grateful because my coach I'm very grateful for the coach I have, because I've had, you know me, I've worked with quite a bit of people over the years. And one thing that caught my eye with the coach that I'm with now, I think, is the support, and that you can tell he truly cares. He's not the kind of coach to kind of just brush you off, but he's the kind of coach that literally will send an email explaining why he's doing something. And then not only that, when I told him about what I was going through, he was just, he told me straight up, he's like, Arianna, if I knew you were slacking, I would, be giving you crap, but you've been going through some stuff that you need to get through, and it takes time. Because some coaches would have just been would have been jerk about it, but because that's how some guy coaches are.
Yeah.
But he wasn't like that. And I've worked with some jerk coaches, so I always had that fear that he's going to be mean to me because I've dealt with that with other coaches, but so far he's been great. So I'm thankful that I have a good coach, and I feel like I finally found. It took me a long time, but I think I finally found my coach. So
that's good, because important coaches, like you said, if you're happy, it's going to show. So the coach needs to reflect this, because you're paying them for a service and you're trying to look your best. And yeah, I know what it's like too, when it was like to have a male coach and you were like scared to send check-ins and stuff. Like you didn't know what they were going to say, if it was going to be mean or, you know what I mean? Because I don't know. I like to know that I'm making my coach proud too. So
yeah, exactly. And sometimes some people do better with female coaches too. Like I know you work with a female coach. Like I've had some really great female coaches over the years. So, and a lot of it comes down to the connection you have with the person you're with. If you feel like you can talk to them and you feel like you can build a relationship with them, then that's important, because a coach isn't just there to, you know, help you with your goals, but they're also there to help you, you know, get through things in a way. It doesn't mean like you have to tell them your whole life story, but if you're going through something like, you know, traumatic in your life, it's important for your coach to know that you are going through that so that they know how to better assist you, because that can affect your progress, you know?
Yeah. And you, like you said about Johnny giving you like education and learning and explanations and stuff, like that's also important because you know, my coach says this all the time, that at the end of the day, like she, you know, she's your coach, but she doesn't want to be your coach forever. Like she wants you to
Yeah.
eventually get to a point where you can take what you learned. Like I have all my diet plans, everything, and you can just cycle in and out and everything. Like she's just going to teach you, like, you know, it's like going to college. Like you pay this money to go to college, and when you get out, you apply what you learned. So
Yeah, exactly.
thing with having a good coach.
Yeah, it's important. And so if you still continually keep competing, obviously you have your coach now, but you know, like if you decide like after like, hey, I don't want to compete anymore. I want to, you know, I need some, or you need some time for yourself for a little bit, you know, a little mental break, go on vacation. You know, you have those plans to kind of like, you know, go back on.
Yeah, for sure. So I also want to go back to competing because you have all these beautiful suits. So it's awesome that you kind of switched it up all the time, right? Or were they mostly, well, they're very colorful. You have a few here that are just like mostly blue. Is that your color?
Yeah, blue and purple.
Blue and purple. That's
But
great.
my last suit was on black fabric, but she did blues, greens. I think she did a little bit of purples. I can't even remember. Yeah, it has purple in it. Yeah. But she's awesome. She's
And
really good. She's local,
okay,
so it
that's,
helps.
I love that with the white, like the white designs too, in between all the colors too. It's really pretty, and it really, I'm sure that really pops on stage too.
Yeah, I've gotten great feedback from Sandy. Sandy always says my suits are just great. You know, because your suit, you know, it's important to have a good suit, you know. And some people, I think, they'll go through somebody and you know, their suit ends up not fitting them the way that it should, you know, and that can affect your placing too. But it just depends, you know, on the person and stuff like that.
Mhm. Also wanted to ask you, I know that we talked about this, but I don't think I've really had anybody on that talks about like do-it-yourself tanning. So we were talking about, you know, you use the Pro Tan for USA's, right?
Yes.
So was it easy, right?
Yes, I liked it. So I normally go through liquid sun rays. Now, when I used to spray tan competitors, we used Jantana.
Okay.
I never was a huge fan of Jantana. The more I started competing, because it did turn people green a lot of times, which like a lot can do with the pH balance of your skin. But I did liquid sun rays at Clash.
Yeah.
And it didn't turn out as well as it normally does. And, you know, they're great. They're really great. They're the people. I love them. They're really sweet, but my skin just was not taking the color well. And I don't know, you know, your skin can change over time. So I decided to, you know, get Pro Tan, because I asked my friend about it and she said she was buying it. So I was like, okay. And I looked it up, you know, I went on the website or the Instagram and I saw people applying it and I was like, wow, it looks so easy. So I got it, and let me tell you, it was way less stressful. You would think it's more stressful, but it was way less stressful because I could do it myself. It went on so nice. I didn't have to go back and get a touch up. It wasn't rushed, because sometimes when they're the sponsor of the show, depending on, you know, who's doing the tanning, they'll rush it. And it turned out like awesome. And it was fast, and it wasn't sticky. It wasn't like, it just was very easy. And obviously Troy helped me a little bit, but I did most of it. So
That's great. Yeah, I've heard good things about the self tanner and everything too. And plus, like, there's a chance you don't even have to leave your room. You just do your tanning there, and then, you know, if you have someone come to you to do makeup or you do your own, like, there's these ways now to make show day so much less stressful, which is great.
Yeah, it can get very stressful if you're constantly running around, especially like if you do a national show and you're like in Vegas or something. Remember when I did USA's and it was in Vegas? Oh my gosh, the traffic and then the Ubering. Oh my gosh. And then it was 110 degrees outside. And I was like, and then if you're on diuretics, it's like, oh my, I feel like you're gonna die.
The desert with no water.
Yeah, and then you can't drink water. You're sipping on water the day of the show, but it's definitely less stressful if you can do your tan. I would say, like, depend on whatever you decide to do. Like, you could always do Liquid Sunrise this time, but for your next show, say you want to do another show, you keep competing, then you could try the Pro Tan out, or you can try it out at home, you know, and see how it does, you know, kind of go through that process just so you can kind of see. And then use it for, you know, a national show or something, but try it out first, just so that you don't like do it and then you're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah,
but you won't have that problem with Pro Tan. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I was thinking that myself. I was like, let me do like the first show and see how it goes, and then I'm like, yeah, after that, like if I do decide to do nationals, I'll be like, all right, let's just wing it. Let's try this out.
Yeah, because if you have a lot of time in between it, you can, you know, test it and see. And
it was
Chandler, huh?
Oh, I was gonna say it was like sold out on the website, so you know people are buying it.
Oh yeah. Well, if you're going to compete a lot, I think it's a great investment because then you save more money.
True.
And Chandler, my friend who stayed at the Airbnb with me when I did USA's, because she did USA's too, she bought it and did the same thing with her husband. So I was like, all right, I'll do it with you guys.
Yeah. So did they have it at the show too?
They were spray tanning. I don't know who the sponsor was for that show. I think it was Pro Tan was the sponsor. I think it's Tan Masters is who they go through though. Tan Masters is the company and they use Pro Tan, I think. I don't know. I think, yeah. No, I don't know.
It's okay.
I don't know. I don't want to say something and then I'm wrong, but I know a couple of my friends were going through Liquid Sunrays and I don't think they were the sponsor of the show, actually. I think Pro Tan's usually the sponsor of most national shows.
You were talking about pH in the skin and stuff. Is there like a recommended skin prep and everything that like, do you do?
Yes. If you're getting sprayed, are you getting sprayed by Liquid Sunrays?
Yeah, I will be. Yeah.
So go on Liquid Sunrays website and purchase the body scrub stuff and get the lotion or I think it's the butter lotion or something. Get that too, just so you have. And then if you want to buy the Race It stuff or after to take your tan off, that stuff works really well. But definitely get that stuff, and you want to start it at least 7 days out to your show, and don't use anything else with that stuff on your skin.
Yeah, I think I've used the Pro Tan brand before. I think it's like Buff Off or something like that.
Yeah.
And like that always worked well for me. I just wasn't sure if you had anything too, but yeah, I think that you know, actually prepping your skin is very important, and I think that's another thing people kind of forget about. You know, they're so focused on everything else that you know that they just forget about.
Yeah, that's really important because the thing is, like, if you don't prep your skin well and then you go and get tanned, that can actually cause your skin, like your tan, not to turn out as well as it could, depending on the pH balance of your skin. And so that's why they make these for each tanning company, you know, for the Pro Tan and then for Liquid Sunrays. So, and I know some people will use like the Pro Tan prep stuff, you know, before they get sprayed by Liquid Sunrays, but I would recommend to always go through the company because I don't know, they could put different things in their products, you know, that can make a difference with the tan. So it's definitely important.
That's a good tip. I didn't even think about that. So definitely just go with whoever that sponsor is or company and just use their products.
Yeah, and it's actually like you could probably get away with a smaller one and be fine too.
Yeah, for one show or whatever. So you and the husband, you guys both do coaching together?
Yes. We've been coaching since 2014 together. He's been coaching longer than me, but we actually just went full-time a year ago. We were not full-time because I was working in the medical field, and then I was coaching part-time, and then he was working as well. So this is the first full year that we've been able to put 100% into it. And one thing we want to do this year is really focus on building our business more because of COVID and, me being in prep and then all the stuff we've, been dealing with. It's been a lot harder, but we've done really well for the first year. So I'm excited to see what another year can do for us.
Yeah. Mostly online. You probably have people all over.
Yes, we have a lot of local clients too. Local. And then we have quite a bit of, I don't know why, but we get a lot of Arizona and Tennessee clients.
Cool.
So Arizona is a good place for fitness though. So that's one, we thought about moving out there actually. My husband used to live there, but I don't know. We might stay in Florida and, live in Orlando. We like it there.
Yeah. Right now this is where a lot of those shows are, and Florida shows are getting ran, I've heard, very well between Joe and I think, I don't know why the other guy's name is slipping my mind at the moment, but I've always heard really good things about all the shows down there.
Yeah, Tim Gardner.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, Tim Gardner. He's always run his shows here. They've been moved here because the it's different here. It's with the COVID thing. It's not as strict. Like we still have to wear masks and stuff. We go in stores. I guess it depends what area you're in as far as masks in the gym. You don't have to wear a mask at the gym here, but they are less strict as long as you're being, precautious and doing what you're supposed to be doing. Like when I competed in Arizona, it honestly didn't even seem like there was COVID because everyone was, we did do the temperature checks. You did have to wear a mask to check-ins, but as far as competing backstage and everyone in the audience did not have to wear a mask. They were not required to wear one.
I was going to say, it doesn't seem like you had to wear a mask at all on the stage, so you didn't have to have any of those pictures.
Oh my gosh. If it was in Vegas, we would have had to.
Oh, yeah. And then it's probably super hot. I can't even imagine. I'd be like, get this thing off my face. This is like my time to shine. Like, get this fabric.
Yeah. Well, you spend all this money on makeup and then you can't even show it off. You just show your eyes. Yeah. And then you can't even tell if you're smiling or not. It just looks weird, but I don't know. I feel like, they say for some shows for the individual poses that you don't have to wear them, but when you're standing next to everybody, you do. But, I don't know. It's weird. The whole thing's weird.
I know. Let's hope that this year is a little different. I know. That's why I was like, I'm going to Florida. I'm not doing a Pennsylvania show. It's just, I don't trust it.
So you live in Pennsylvania then?
Yeah, I live in Pittsburgh.
Okay. So how are you flying or driving?
I'll be flying. Yeah.
Okay. I wonder how long that drive is anyways.
Probably like 16 hours or something like that.
Yeah, not girl. You need to fly.
Anything over 5, I'm flying, man. Not a bad deal. I've been to Orlando once for Disney, but other than that, I haven't really been to Florida too much. But I'm excited because, to be honest, I've only done Pennsylvania shows, and I'm ready to move on. I'm ready to venture out. Obviously the Pittsburgh Championships and North Americans are here, which are probably our 2 big shows. But honestly, I actually want to get some traveling experience. I actually want to learn how my body responds to traveling, which I know you've done. Is there anything that you learned from traveling and competing that way?
Well, with traveling, one thing that I've been traveling a lot lately, actually, because I go back and forth to Orlando so much, and because I live about 2.5 hours away from Orlando. I live south from there. But with traveling, especially while on prep, food-wise, prepping, I would say, is that what you mean?
Well, anything. Is there just something that you learned? It was something I didn't know that going into traveling. Like, I don't know if it's like a water thing or like if there's just,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I think it's really a water thing for me because I know that I will be water loading before I go. So I wasn't sure if you just, I don't know. I'll be flying in the morning. So I'm hoping that I can just like wait to drink all my water when I land.
What day are you leaving?
Wednesday.
And you're competing Saturday, right?
Yep.
Okay, that's perfect. So you have time then. I would say if your coach is having you do anything like ester C, that might help some to flush some water, dandelion, but also just make sure you're water loading. That alone is going to help get rid of anything. Because the worst thing you can do is be up in the air, not drinking water at all. And then, and also another thing you could do is wear tight clothing, tighter pants, like socks, longer socks, anything like that. That'll help too, so that you're not holding as much water in your legs. But I don't think you'll have too much of a problem, because the thing is, if you are depleting too and your carbs are pretty low and you're water loading, it's going to be harder for your body to hold on to water.
Yeah, that's true.
And on top of, you know, if you're on a natural diuretic or something, but you might hold a little bit just from flying, inflammation, stress, you know, because people get stressed when they're flying, but you should be okay. But, and then as far as food, I'm assuming you're probably going to prep food and bring it to and all that.
I haven't decided yet. I did hear that like there's like a grocery store close by. I think people were talking about that with the Olympia. They were like really happy that there was a grocery store nearby for getting food, because I would ideally I would rather just like bring my food for the plane and get there and then get what I need and figure it out food wise. But yeah, I haven't really quite figured that one out yet.
Are you staying where there's a kitchen, where you have a kitchen?
I don't think that there is one now.
Okay, so I would suggest like, well, obviously I stayed in an Airbnb that had a kitchen and stuff, but when I did Clash, I didn't have, you know, obviously a kitchen or anything, but you can, you know, prep your chicken and your like proteins and stuff, put them in baggies, weigh them out, and then put them in the freezer the night before you leave, so they're frozen. And then you can put them, you know, bring them on the plane, you know, if you have like a big, you know, like a Coleman or, you know, 6-pack or something, you just throw it all in there, and then, you know, you bring your rice cakes and all that stuff, just so it's easier for you, because the last thing you would do is get here and then you're like, oh my gosh, I have to prep this, I have to, you know. So that actually made it easy for me. And I actually did that also for USA's, so that we didn't have to really prep a whole lot like when I got there, because I'm a stress case when it comes to shows. I stress easy. And I like to have everything like done, like taken care of already, so that I can just grab and go. But like if it's like eggs or something and like I have a kitchen, that's different. But as far as like chicken, I like to have things prepped. And then, you know, carbs are super easy. Like you can always like buy like prepackaged jasmine rice or, you know, rice cakes and stuff like that.
Definitely. If I was driving, I would have just brought my own like skillet stuff that I have. Like that's the only thing. That's why traveling, I'm like, I gotta try this. I gotta like put myself in that situation just for a fun learning experience.
Yeah. No, yeah. And that's such a good show. And Sandy's the head judge there, isn't she?
Yeah, and Tyler will be there too. So
they're awesome. I
yeah.
love Sandy, Tyler. They both judge me at USA's, and Sandy, you're gonna do well.
Oh,
Sandy is all about shape, and she likes conditioning, but she doesn't want to see too much. So she wants femininity. She doesn't want to see, you know, girls that are too rough. Obviously at the pro level can be different. You know, I don't know really the judging panel for that, but I know for state shows, she doesn't want to see too much, like you don't want to be too hard. Like you want to be lean and full, but you don't want to be too grainy and hard. She does not like that look.
No, and I know how that is too. I've seen her with bikini girls too. If you're too hard, she's not gonna like it. You know what I mean? I think it's more of the male judges that tend to lean towards these girls that are like real hard and defined. But you know,
Yeah.
a judge, she'll tell you.
Yeah, and then you're also gonna get probably a couple other judges that will be judging North Americans if you choose to do that show. So, which is really good for you, because then you get that exposure. And then not only that, like, then you'll know whatever feedback you get, then you know what you need to bring to your national show.
Right. I agree. It's definitely really helpful to get your face out there. Like, I don't like picking a show, and like the judges are a very important part.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah, for sure.
I agree. I think Tyler judged me it was the first time Tyler judged me was at this last USA's, but I'm not sure. I don't know. He might have judged me in 2018. I know Sandy's judged me at 4 shows. So she knows who I am. And that helps, you know, but I took off all 2019 and, you know, no one really saw me for a while. So when I came back, she was probably like, oh, wow, she's back.
That's how I feel, because she was at my last show in 2019. So I'll be curious after a whole year, you know, because I'm not getting a new suit. I'm just keeping it. So unless she remembers the suit, maybe.
She remembers, I'm telling you, this woman remembers. Like, she saw me at USA's in 2018 and she's like, hey, you did Southern States? I'm like, yeah, that was 2 weeks ago. She's like, I remember you. I'm like, oh, okay.
Isn't it funny how since we're so consumed in bodybuilding, like we see all these like top pros and stuff, and we think that it's such a huge sport, but in reality, like we really like aren't like football, NFL or anything, you know, but
no, sorry, my cat is meowing. Yeah, it's, you know, it's a small world with bodybuilding until you get everyone together. Like when you go to the Olympia and there's like a huge expo, it's like, wow, everyone, like there's so many people, but we don't really get a lot of, I don't know what the word is.
exposure.
Yeah, a lot of people are just like, oh, you're in bodybuilding. Oh, okay. But you know, obviously the NFL, I mean, that's like a whole different, I mean, they're getting paid like millions.
So
you
we really
know,
shouldn't be surprised when like these pros remember us. I feel like not that we should expect it, but you know, it's kind of like really nice because you're just like, wow, I get to talk to the pros and they're my idols and everything. Like I know I've been following you forever, and I'm just like, I was so proud that you're a pro, like you deserved it, and I was just like, that makes you feel so good, and now you're a part of the elite.
yeah, this is probably one of my biggest accomplishments, I would say, you know. And one thing with bodybuilding is, the thing is, no one can ever take that away from you. You know, so however far that you want to go, you know, you can do anything you set your mind to. It all just comes down to, you know, how bad you want it. And but it's definitely, it's very surreal. I'm very blessed and stuff, but I know now, and one thing for me is I want to stay, you know, I'm a humble person, and I believe there's always more room for improvement. And I'm not somebody to, you know, I got my pro card, like I'm the shit. Like I don't act like that. Like, and because I see a lot of women and, you know, and men that look like they should already be professional athletes and they look awesome, you know? So, but I just, you know, I definitely want to stay as humble as I can and always focus on just being better version of myself, you know, because the thing is, you know, there's a lot of good athletes out there, you know. I'm starting over now. So
right. But it keeps the fire lit.
yeah, it does. It definitely does. And it's a different, when you get to that level, it's like, okay, it's kind of like, okay, now I need to up my game. Like I need to push even harder. I need to prove why I deserve to be a professional athlete, you know, or why, you know, I deserve to be in the top, you know. And a lot of people are wanting to get to the top. So you're going against so many people. It's not like, you know, national show, you might have 8 to 12 to 15, you know, in figure, but at the pro level, you're going up against like what, 40, 42, 50 girls in your class or something.
Yeah.
So
Everybody wants to win too. And you know, everybody, when you're a pro, you've done time, don't worry. So everybody there has experience, and you just kind of have to bring your best, like we were talking about. Just worry about stage day.
And pay your dues, keep showing up, and, you know, prove why you deserve to be, you know, at the Olympia, because there's, you know, there's a couple people that I follow, and I've seen them really, when they first start out as a pro, they weren't doing as good. And then they took the time off needed to improve more. And then they just started climbing up. And now they're like competing at the Olympia.
Yeah.
So,
right.
so it's a process, but it's totally worth it, you know, as long as you do it the right way, healthy way.
Exactly. And we are preaching that. We are setting the example.
Yes, that's important because you want longevity. And how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
28.
28. Okay, so I'm almost 28. I turn 28 next Tuesday. So
Ooh, you're an Aquarius. That's adorable.
Yes. So it's really important to, you know, when you're young, to think of longevity, you know, in the sport. And you and I, we still have a long time left in the sport. It's not like we're in our late 40s and we don't have a whole lot of time. So we're still young. So, you know, it's important to do it the right way and healthy way so that, you know, you have, you know, so that you can compete as long as you want,
Right.
you know?
Are going to eventually get to that age where our muscle maturity just keeps getting better and better. So like, why give up? You know, it's muscle maturity is what grows over time, plus the training. Like we've already built this foundation and we have, like you said, time. So just keep everything healthy. No need to rush anything. Shows are always there. So.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, maturity. That's one thing that is hard when you have somebody who's, I would say, in their mid-20s or late 20s going up against somebody who's in their mid-30s or later 30s or even 40s, because they, you know, you could have that shape, that muscle, but some of those women just have that maturity, and that maturity, you can tell on stage, you know. And the longer you train, though, the more you're just going to get that, and the more matured your muscles are going to get over time.
That's
so yeah, it's exciting. It's like, I like being young, but I can't wait to get older so I have more maturity.
Yeah. I'm already starting to get a few of those comments like, oh man, you're really starting to get like that round shape and maturity. And I'm just like, I don't know. Like, it's like, I feel old, but I like the compliment. So thank you.
Yeah, no, yeah. Cause it's, you know, when you have that maturity, you're going to stand out more too. So
that's what's
as
fun.
long as we keep that fullness, that's important. Coming in with that fullness too.
Well, girl, I've had you on. We're getting to an hour here, and I definitely don't want to keep you forever, especially on your phone. So I want to say I really appreciate you coming on. And are you accepting clients if anybody's going to be wanting to reach out?
Yeah, I'm accepting lifestyle competition prep clients right now, actually. I wasn't for a little while, but now I am. So
she's ready. She's back.
Yeah, I'm back. I can think clearly. Prep's done for a while.
And that's okay. And your Instagram is Arianna Tate. Wait, Arianna_Tate Fitness, right?
Yep.
All right. And then of course, like you are sponsored by your supplement company. Which one's that?
AP Sports Regimen. So I've been with them since the beginning of December. I signed on with them, and they're great. I'm
Awesome.
Absolutely very supportive, good people. And they have great supplements, good quality. And the people who run the company, they're just overall very supportive and want to see all their athletes succeed. And that to me means a lot, you know?
Right. Yeah. I saw you got to work the booth and everything and meet Ben Chow. And that's like,
yeah, he's on the team with me. It's funny because he's first in sales and I'm second. So I'm like, trying to get up there, trying to beat you, Ben. But yeah, he's a good guy. They're all great. So I'm very, very grateful to be part of this team.
That's fantastic. And I'm really excited to see what happens, whether it's this year or 2022. I'll be looking forward to see what pro debut show you pick.
Thanks, love. And I'm excited for you. I'll be at your show. Yay. So I'll come support.
We'll get some pictures together.
Yes, for sure.
All righty, dear. Well, have a great day. Thank you again. And I will have this up and loaded for tomorrow.
All right. I'll see you, girl.
Yeah, bye.